Shea just dropped a brand new home collection at Lyric and Lone Tree, which means a whole new selection of floor plans. Hey everybody, it is Alyson Wall, your real estate strategist and realtor for the South Denver area. Shea's brand new release is going to open up a lot more options for buyers who've been waiting for bigger floor plans. And in this video, we're going to talk about walkability upgrades and enhancements, which is really the highlight of living in RidgeGate and Lyric. So this new collection is the Autograph Collection. They are doing so good at sticking to the music theme over here. And with floor plans ranging from 2,600 to 6,300 square feet, by far the most spacious floor plans we have seen in Lyric yet. The home options are going to range from 3 to 9 bedrooms. Are we kidding? 9 bedrooms and 3 to 7.5 bathrooms. Now, all those beds and baths do not come standard. You will have to finish the basement, finish off a loft, do some different upgrades and pay for all that, but you definitely at least have the option of the space. Most of the homes come with 3-car garages, except for one of them, the Everly, which comes with a 4-car garage figured in a 2-car tandem. So you get 2 across, 2 deep. I do kind of like that configuration. I mean, I'm always for as many garage bays across as you can get. They have a little more resale value, often have a little more functionality. But for someone who's wanting hobby space, storing 1 car, golf carts, a big area for a workshop, this is incredibly functional. Also, there's no way that a production builder is going to give you a lot wide enough to have 3 cars across and then an additional garage out front. So we could only dream. Also, Shea does tend to build really tall garages. They tend to give a lot of ceiling height throughout the home and the garage. So I have certainly seen folks who want to have multiple cars or utilize a lot of that space, put in garage lifts. If you're not a car person, you're thinking, are you kidding me? And that's a lot of money. But I hear it all the time. I was just at a walkthrough with a client who does not want to get rid of their toy Corvette, their little older fun car they use once in a while. And they also have a Jeep that is a retro Jeep, low miles, and they love it. And then they have their daily cars. And so that is one of the things they're talking about and which garage it fits in and how to make that work. So this is a common conversation for folks who have extra toys, things they love, and Shea does tend to do garages tall enough to make that an option. Now, if you've already been shopping Shea Homes, some of the floor plans that are going to roll out may seem familiar. So down in the canyons, if you've already been over that way and shopped the Luxe collection, you're going to see some familiarity over here. The Amelia in Lyric is exactly what the Hyde is in the canyons. The Walton is the same everywhere. That is their multi-gen model. They don't change the name from community to community to community. And the Rhett here in Lyric is the Stonehaven down in the canyons, which is the main floor primary in a 2-story home. That is a really cool layout. I wouldn't say it's an awesome one if you have young kids because it's very open. So there is a lot of noise that travels throughout the home. But if you've moved to say middle school and beyond and you want a home that's going to age really well, I love this floor plan, particularly if you can get a walkout basement, because that basement is really large and it's laid out so well. Beyond these 3 familiar floor plans, there are 3 new fresh digs that Autograph Collection is bringing into Lyric that are not anywhere else. They're not in Solstice, they're not in the canyons, so there is some fresh meat if you're looking for something a little bit different, and we always love that. Shea loves to change things up, and they do a pretty good job of not repeating homes. And that way, when you're looking around, even in the resale community, it doesn't feel like you're seeing the same old, same old. So it does actually help on the resale side down the road. Models for these are expected later in 2025, maybe late summer, could be a little after that. And great news, the amenity center, the amenity facilities in Lyric have finally broken ground. They usually try to crank those out in about a year. When they start them in the summer or pre-summer of one year, they're usually aiming to get them open, particularly the pool, for the next summer. Sometimes there's delays, but their goal is to have that pool open by Memorial Day the next year. We'll see if that happens for 2026. Now let's talk about that walkability that I promised. Lyric is part of RidgeGate. RidgeGate is part of Lone Tree. So we have Lone Tree up here, we have RidgeGate here, we have Lyric here. RidgeGate is designed to be walkable. Lone Tree designed RidgeGate with that master plan in mind. Today, about 5,000 people live inside RidgeGate. It's probably a little bit more than that. They expect 30,000 residents and 50,000 people working inside RidgeGate over the next several decades. This is going to be a massive area, pretty dense, a lot of mixed use, retail, commercial, residential, and is all designed around having light rail go through. Charles Schwab was one of the first major commercial industries, businesses to come in after we got light rail, and this was all strategic. Lone Tree started this decades ago with a long-term vision. So when you move into Lyric, you're moving into the first major neighborhood on the east side of I-25 that's going to be built out over several decades to kind of flesh out and fulfill this vision for urban-suburban mix. The Lyric neighborhood alone has over 6 miles of trails through the community, and they connect to the reservoir, the incline, the Cherry Creek Trail, the trail that runs all the way to Chatfield Reservoir. It's an east-west trail, very long. The Cherry Creek Trail is east of Lyric, and it can go all the way into Denver. So you have got a huge trail network if you're interested in connecting to it. In short order, the Lone Tree Regional Park will be complete. That's 80 acres in addition to the parks that are dotted all throughout the community that Shea creates for its own residents. Now, the highlight of the walkability is what Lone Tree is calling the couplet. It is retail in the middle of the road. Honestly, if you aren't from here, you haven't been here, you haven't flown in and done a tour, you're thinking about the area, when you come, you'll see exactly what I mean, but it is smack dab in the middle of the road. So as this area, Lyric, and all of this was getting developed, they reconfigured the road heading from I-25 into Parker. It's a short stretch where this is Lone Tree, and then it moves into unincorporated Parker. And they kind of changed the curve of this road, put in a very, very large median, and in there is going to go a whole bunch of retail. A King Soopers grocery, coffee shop, a yoga shop. They're actually putting in some housing. There's going to be some senior housing, some other options, possibly some low income. We don't know everything going in there. We do know the senior housing is going in there, rental style. So it is a massive median. There are stoplights coming in from neighborhoods that already exist, like Lyric, the ones to the north side, which aren't there yet. So it is meant for people in this surrounding area of RidgeGate to be able to leave the community. Now, will they walk? Very American side of me says probably not. The closest homes right now are a 20-minute walk to the couplet. There is going to be more in terms of residential infrastructure that gets closer and closer to the couplet, so maybe. But we have a lot of folks who have e-bikes out here, a lot of scooters, a lot of one-wheels. And so I do think there will be use of that on foot or on something that is not a car. But it is not the closest, and it's along a very heavily trafficked road. This is a main corridor in and out of Parker, in and out even to places farther east, Elizabeth, Kiowa. So this is a busy road. It is not quiet. It is not like you are in France or in some little neighborhood in Europe and you're just strolling over to the little shop or a bodega and there's 1 or 2 cars and a bunch of people on foot and some bikes. No, it is loud. So I'm not sure exactly how walkable it will feel, how enjoyable it will feel, but the ability is there in proximity, which is nice. I know everybody in the surrounding areas is looking forward to having the King Soopers there because those folks who have moved into the unincorporated Parker part who are in this Lyric area, it's longer to get to a grocery store than they might be used to coming from some other areas. Many of you know I came from Highlands Ranch. I had 3 grocery stores in 3 minutes. I moved not far from where Lyric is, and I've been there for years now. And it's a 10-minute commute to a grocery store. For most people, you're like, wow, really? Big deal. It feels like a big deal when you're used to 3 grocery stores in 3 minutes. So there is a lot of excitement about having things come in close, quick, and easy. Okay, let me ask you, when I said there was going to be 30,000 people and 50,000 jobs in this area over the next several decades, were you excited? Did it scare you? Did it make you go, oh, this is not for me? So there is going to be a lot of construction over many decades in this area. The original plan when construction started on this east side of RidgeGate was for roughly a 40-ish year build out. It's all dependent on the pace of the market. It could take 50, it could take 60, it could take 25 to 30. But Shea, who's developing these neighborhoods, they have the right to bring in other builders as they wish, but they're the master developer, has in mind a roughly 40-year build-out plan. In addition to that, The town center where the government offices, etc. for Lone Tree are all moving to this east side of 25, as well as plans for other businesses. So if you're thinking, I'm going to move in and it's just going to quiet down and it'll lean a little more to the suburban side of urban, maybe, but not for a while. The construction's going to be a part of life here for a long time. And with Lyric being so close to I-25, most of the homes being very close to the main road, you're going to hear the construction traffic going through. Now, after they're finished building homes on your street, you're not going to hear as much of that backup beeping and the hammering and the nail guns, and that part will quiet down quite a bit. But being around this area and off this main road quite a bit showing homes, I don't live far from there, I can tell you when those big trucks rumble through to go to construction sites, you absolutely hear them. So if you're wanting something a little quieter, this is probably not the spot for you, particularly with its proximity to I-25. I have to tell you, I have so many clients who come in from other parts of the country, Houston, Atlanta, Dallas, LA, and they are not far from a highway system. Those cities are big and have major highway systems, and they want something quiet. When they bought a home that was new and it was cute and it was affordable, they felt like they were far enough from the highway, but then they go outside once they have a kid and they're letting their little one out in the back to touch the yard, or they're playing with the dog that they got and they're throwing the ball. They hear that constant white noise hum of highway and they're tired of it. And you are absolutely, without a doubt, 100% going to hear the white noise hum of I-25 when you're in Lyric. And because of its proximity to the highway, your views are obstructed by that. So there are mountain views, there are city views or tech center views, so you see a little bit of city light at night, but there's a lot of concrete. So if you're wanting something that has a little bit more mountain view, that feels green, that feels a little suburban, this is not the first place on the list I would recommend for new construction. It is going to feel a little more concrete-ish. You're looking at a parking garage, you're looking at a taller senior residential facility, you're looking at the highway. So you see a lot more just commercial and concrete out your view, and you're not going to escape that. Just more is going to come around you, especially to the north, as more is built that direction. Last, if you haven't caught previous videos of mine about Lyric, know that this is fairly under the flight path, generally landing pattern, but flight path of Centennial Airport. All of these neighborhoods they're going to do are, so if you lean toward wanting things a little more quiet, feel like the noise might wake you at night, want to sit out in your backyard and want some privacy or quiet, the airplane noise, and maybe mixed with the highway noise, may also make it not the right fit for you. But here's the thing, people love new builds. They love easy button, they love clean. The siren song of new construction, particularly with a short commute, just draws people in. So I always want to challenge you to look, compare, because it's not just about what you're getting for today, it's how is this asset going to return on its value over time, and how does it work for you the whole time that you're living there. What I don't want is for any of my clients or anyone else, someone who doesn't even choose to work with an agent and they go to new build directly, to get into a house and not be happy in 2 years and need to sell it, or it's not big enough and they have to move. Because we are not seeing a market over the last several years where you're going to work out a profit or net positive or maybe even break even in 2 years. I'm seeing that with so many of my folks right now. And when you're competing against a builder, it's even harder. And the thing with Lyric is right now, the majority of the construction is close to the highway. So if you're buying that, and then we've got them moving away from the highway to quieter locations, and you need to compete against a quieter spot or maybe one that's more elevated with better views, you really may struggle. People will almost always choose picking what the builder's offering, never lived in, versus a resale until the community is done, until they don't have an option. So when we're talking about the downsides of a community versus the upsides of a community, I really want you to compare all of the homes from that builder in different locations. This is true with Shea, it's true with Infinity, it's true with Thrive, it's true with Local, who are all building in here, with Richmond, with Pulte. I don't care who it is. Look around all the areas in the bubble, the triangle in which you're willing to live, and then compare all builders within your price point. If you've decided that $850 to $1 million works for you, Look at everyone who's selling a home at $850,000 to $1 million and make sure you're getting the best value, the best lifestyle, the best lot, the best finishes, all of it. Lyric is wildly popular. It is selling so fast. It is a repeat version of a community that was way up north in Denver from years ago. That was Stapleton, where they repurposed the old Stapleton airport. It's now called Central Park. And they took that concept, moved it down here, created this suburban urban mix, and it sells like hotcakes. And you've got Shea in here, you've got Infinity in here, two really quality builders who create amazing floor plans, nice architecture. We're adding in some attached products, so it's true zero exterior maintenance living with Thrive and Local. So we've got a really nice mix in this community. It's attracting folks who want to become investors. Shea does not allow investors to buy in. You have to make it a primary residence. But folks who see a way to get in and then convert this to an investment property down the road, the proximity to the light rail, the proximity to all this walkability, to I-25, to the tech center, this is a prime location and it is selling. So no matter what I'm saying about noise or views and a little bit of concrete, it doesn't matter. There is a market for what is here. I have got a family of mine that chose this neighborhood over the Canyons because it was about a 15-minute, 12-minute closer commute. They work on the south end of the tech center, barely getting into it. It's literally like a 7-minute commute for mom. So she has so much more time to spend with her kids. They love their house. They don't have a lot of yard to maintain, which they didn't care about. And they're not alone. A lot of people want a big yard, and there are a lot of people that don't. They consider Colorado their yard, and they don't want to maintain one at home. Lyric is a very good fit for that. If you want to chat about building a home in the South Denver market, want to talk about what fits for your needs, wants, and wishes, please reach out. I would absolutely love to connect, and I will see y'all next week.